Welcome back here to 87.9 Sports Talk, your home for Detroit Lions football. And we are coming to an end of another disappointing year for the Detroit Lions as the team is 5-10 right now. Once again, horrible year. And as you just saw, Jake Rudock was picked up from the practice squad by the Denver Broncos. But here's a quick look at the team right now. And obviously, this team has some issues. Yet another 10-loss season. They had 12 losses last year, 10 this year, they had 9 in 2015. This team has really fallen off and taken a big time step back, and that's not what we wanted. Now here's a look at the injury report around the league. That's it for the injuries portion of this. Now let's get on to what a lot of you people care about, and that is the league standing. We will do that very shortly. And by shortly, I mean right now. Let's get on to it. As you can see, the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots are tied for the best record in the league at 12-3. Now in the AFC, we got the Patriots, Chargers, Chiefs. They've all clinched. Then we have the Texans, Steelers, Bills, and Colts that are basically fighting it out there. And then in the NFC, the Saints, Packers, Rams, and Giants have clinched the top 4 seeds. Then we have the Cardinals, Panthers, Vikings, Seahawks, and Eagles fighting it out for the 5th and the 6th seed. Now, if the Cardinals win, they're in. And now here's a look at the draft order for around the league. The 49ers, Redskins, Bears, Ravens, and Broncos sit in the top 5 slots. Your Detroit Lions pick 6th in the league. Now let's look at the standings in the divisions. In the AFC North, the Steelers lead that division. In the AFC South, the Colts have choked away their divisional lead to the Houston Texans, who are led by a horrible Brock Osweiler, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you see stats. AFC East is being led by the Patriots, and that is a surprise to absolutely nobody. In the AFC West, the Chargers and the Chiefs are dominating that division. NFC North, the Packers and the Vikings duking it out at the top. NFC South, we got the Saints, Panthers, Bucks, and Falcons. NFC East, we have the Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, and Redskins. And in the NFC West, we have the Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. So that's a good look at your standings on the league. Like I said, playoff scenarios. If the Cardinals win, they're in. If the Panthers win, they're in. Vikings have the tiebreaker over the Seahawks. If the Bills win, they're in. If the Texans win, they're in. Now, here's a look at the Lions stats this season. Matthew Stafford, 3,600 yards, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Samaje Perine, 639 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was decent. Dwayne Washington, 390 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's also been very good. And receiving, Eric Ebron leads the team in receptions, but he is of course benched because he is a clown and he drops everything thrown his way. Well, I shouldn't say everything, but half of the passes thrown his way he drops. And you see the rest of the receivers around on the team. Golden Tate leads the team with 9 touchdowns. Marvin Jones with 7, Morris Boring at 6, TJ Jones 5, Eric Ebron 4, Corey Smith 4, Sponky Ryan 2, Matt Collins 2, and you know the rest. Sacks, the offensive line has been horrible. Meadows Watson, horrible free agent signing. So is Ted Karras. Taylor Decker's been bad. Basically, the whole entire offensive line has been bad. On the defensive side of the ball, Tavon Wilson and Glover Quinn lead the team in tackles, which is horrible. The 2 safeties are definitely not supposed to be leading the team in tackles. That is not supposed to happen, but it is for the Lions. Tackles for loss, Tahir Whitehead with 13, Ziggy Ansah with 11, Haloti Ngata with 11, A'Shawn Robinson played really well this year. He has 11. Deontay Levy with 9. Devin Taylor with 9. Quarterback sacks, as you'll see in a second. Ezekiel Ansah at 13.5. Devin Taylor, a surprise this year, with 11.5 sacks. Double-digit sacks for the first time in his career. He really came alive this season, and that was definitely good to see him get after the passer. And he was able to keep third-round picks Marcus Walker and Dwight Freeney off of the field. Interceptions, Glover Quinn at 6, down a spot to get 4, Darius Slay with 4, DeAndre Levy with 3, Taylor Wilson with 3, Jalen Tabor had 1, Quandre Diggs had 1, and Nevin Lawson had 1. Very disappointed by Tabor's season. He was horrible this year. I'd argue he was almost worse than Quandre Diggs, although that's like impossible to do. Defensive touchdowns, Glover Quinn, A'Shawn Robinson, and DeAndre Levy all had defensive touchdowns, 2 pick sixes, and 1 fumble taken back for a touchdown. Matt Prater was horrible, 13 of 18. Longest field goal of the year was 49 yards. He could not kick anything longer than that. If he did, it would be shanked horribly. And then kicking and punt returns, nothing to see there. No big punt returns for touchdowns or anything. Now let's look at the stats from teams around the league here. Aaron Rodgers, the bad man, leads the league in passing with 4,479 yards. Blake Bortles not far behind. Philip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Andrew Luck, Matthew Stafford, Cam Newton, Dak Prescott. Passing touchdowns, Matthew Stafford leads the league with 41. Tom Brady with 35. Aaron Rodgers with 33. Something to note about Stafford is he's thrown multiple touchdown passes 16 straight games, 2 or more, in every game since week 17 of last season. Week 16 of last season against the Cowboys. Leading the league in interceptions, Paxton Lynch with 24, Brock Osweiler with 21. He's had a horrible year. Matty Ice, Cam Newton, Nate Sudfeld, bad year for him. Tyrod Taylor, there's Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson. He missed Darrell Bevel quite a bit there in Seattle. Looking at the rushing leaders, we have LaShawn McCoy leading the league in rushing. There's Jamal Charles, Lamar Miller, Matt Forte, TJ Yeldon, Le'Veon Bell, Devonta Freeman, Todd Gurley, Duke Johnson, Dalvin Cook, the rookie out of Florida State, Melvin Gordon, AP, Thomas Rawls, and Mark Ingram. Well, not Mark Ingram. There's Leonard Fournette right there, 866 yards. Rushing touchdowns, Lamar Miller, TJ Yeldon, Jamal Charles, Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, and you see those guys with double-digit touchdowns. And receiving, Jordy Nelson leads the league in catches with 96. Randall Cobb at 90, Jermaine Kearse 84, Allen Hurns with 83. Looking at the receiving yards, Jordy Nelson also leads the league in that, 1,242. Odell Beckham 1,206, Michael Floyd 1,164, and so on and so forth. DeAndre Hopkins getting up there, so is AJ Green, Kelvin Benjamin, Jermaine Kearse, Demaryius Thomas, Alshon, and Jeffrey Jordan Reed. Terrence Williams, your normal suspects. Sammy Watkins, Cordell Patterson on that list. That is not a normal suspect. He's a surprise. Receiving touchdowns, John Brown and Michael Lloyd both lead with 11 and 10. Jerron Brown up there, Golden Tate up there with 9. Alshon Jeffrey with 9, Tyler Eifert with 9. And now let's look at blocking. Anthony Costanzo apparently sucks. That's all you need to know about that. Defensive stats here. We're gonna look at sacks first. Barkevious Mingo. You know how they see every player that gets traded to the Patriots just performs amazingly. Barkevius Mingo is a shining example of that, with his amazing 17.5 sack season. J.J. Watt with 24 tackles for loss, that's pretty neat. Interceptions, Joe Hayden at 7, Chris Harris, Jonathan Joseph, Logan Ryan, Darrell Revis, David Emerson, Bradley Roby on that list. Vontae Davis. Now let's go to the NFC interceptions. Xavier Rhodes has 6, Wilbur Quinn with 6, Marcus Jordan with 5, Danny Chapin, Dwayne Retch, Jordan Lewis, the rookie out of Michigan, first round pick. Quarterback sacks, William Ibley and Mermaid Hayes with 14.5, Ziggy Ansah with 13.5, Cameron Jordan with 13, Robert Ayers, Robert Quinn, both on that list. The Rams are getting a ton of pressure on the quarterback, and that explains their great record. Tackles for loss, Calais Campbell, Sheldon Rankins, Michael Bennett on that list. You know, your normal suspects. There's Aaron Donald with 15. Kicking, Blair Walsh actually doing surprisingly well this season, but of course, you know, he shanks a 27-yard field goal in the playoffs. Matt Prater down on the list because he stinks. Punting, no one cares about that. Kick return for a touchdown, Doug Bryant, Des Bryant. I don't know what I'm saying. Just ignore that. Punt return for a touchdown. Tavon Austin had 2. Philly Brown, Cordelia Tankersley, Odell Beckham, and Patrick Peterson. So that's it for the stats. Now that we are done with that, let's look at the yearly awards. Of course, there's one more week to decide these, but Aaron Rodgers leads in league MVP voting. There's Tom Brady, Philip Rivers. Coach of the year will go to Sean Payton right now. Let's look at the AFC Offensive Player of the Year. It looks like it's going to be Philip Rivers. Defensive Player of the Year, Barkevius freaking Mingo. Bunch Rookie of the Year looks like it could go to Leonard Fournette right now. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Reuben Foster of the Raiders as well. So the Raiders look like they had a nice draft and they improved 3 wins. NFC Offensive Player of the Year, Aaron Rodgers. Defensive Player of the Year, Cameron Jordan. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Brad Caius. Majin P right down there 4th. He was leading before he got injured. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year, Raekwon McMillan. Jordan Lewis right there. Myles Garrett in 3rd. He's had a putrid season. Best quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Good thing to note he is in 2nd right there. So that is about it for that. Now let's get a quick preview of our Week 17 opponent. The Lions Week 17 opponent, the Cleveland Browns, who are 7-8 on the season. Big time improvement from 2-13-1 in Hugh Jackson's 2nd season. Deshaun Watson, 2,562 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He is returning early from a dislocated ankle injury he suffered back in Week 13 against the Titans. Browns have a long shot at making the playoffs, but Watson will play anyway. Duke Johnson, as we saw, he's over 1,000 yards. Corey Clement, 372 yards. And then receiving-wise, Corey Coleman, 742 yards for touchdowns. He's really good. Malachi Dupree had a decent season. Kamar Aiken, their free agent signing, was pretty good this year. Receiving touchdowns, Corey Coleman with 6, Malachi Dupree with 5, Andrew Hawkins with 4, Kamar Aiken with 3. So there's a good look at that for the Browns. And now here's a quick look at the Week 17 schedule around the league, I believe. Here's a good look at some of the matchups we're going to have. Colts, Titans, Bengals, Packers, Panthers, Cowboys, Vikings, Steelers. Lots of these games with playoff implications. Rams, Saints is definitely a big game for NFC superiority. Giants, Seahawks, another game with big time playoff implications. Bears, 49ers, that's a battle for the number 1 overall pick. If the 49ers lose, they get the number 1 pick. If they win, they need to hope that the Redskins lose as well. So there's a good look at all of that. The Redskins are locked into the number 2 overall pick, by the way, with a Bears win, I believe. There's a good look at the schedule. Lots of games, as I said, with playoff implications. Don't want to take you through all of them individually because we do not have time for that here at 87.9 Sports Talk. But that is about it. The Lions season is finally over, and thank you for tuning in, and be sure to watch the Lions take on the Browns in Week 17.